The experts you're going to hear from today are from Singapore. They're all amazing authorities in their respective rights. So listen in to the brief interviews that we have with all of these authors that have been global now with their exposure here on my show that is being broadcast on NBC. We'll see you inside. Tian, welcome to the show. I'm so excited to hear about your book that addresses a lot of cultural concerns. So what inspired you to write your book?
Well, Mitch, the book is written based on my personal experience of raising two girls and a boy.
Okay.
It's rewarding, really, to see them communicate so naturally with both Chinese and American speakers.
You speak both languages and probably another, but in running a household as a mother of three kids.
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge is definitely maintaining consistency and motivation, both for the children and the parents. My book offers various strategies, from setting realistic goals to integrating language into daily activities, which help make language learning a natural and enjoyable path.
Oh, that's great. So what would you say to somebody who's got a strong heritage, albeit Chinese, Japanese, or any other language, and they're in a new country and they want to maintain some connection to their culture? How do they keep that going so they can recognize their native language or let's say their heritage language and integrate it into the household?
Well, I think it has to be very intentional. You cannot let things, go naturally because of the language environment. If you don't have the heritage language environment at home, it's very important for parents to intentionally create the environment.
Wei Fong, great to have you on the show today. Tell us what inspired you to write your book.
When I was young, I had a traumatic experience that left behind an emotional baggage. To release that burden, I attended transformational program and worked on myself. Okay.
And what did you take away from that training who apply to your book?
Okay, because in that process of working on myself, I witnessed a profound awakening and a transformation in my life. I actually became more effective at work. I was able to achieve financial freedom and have better relationships.
What did you take away from that training who apply to your book?
Because in that process of working on myself, I witnessed a profound awakening and a transformation in my life. I actually became more effective at work. I was able to achieve financial freedom and have better relationships.
Well, that's great. So who will benefit most from reading your book?
Anyone who wants to be more effective in achieving the life that they desire will benefit.
What key takeaway will a reader benefit from by reading your book?
Readers will learn how to release their negative emotions and reprogram themselves to achieve success in all areas of their life.
Pain to Power was your book that you wrote. Tell us how and why you did this.
My journey with generalized pustular psoriasis, in short, GPP, inspired me to write this book. So other than wanting to raise awareness for this rare chronic condition, I wanted to offer insights and hope to others who are facing similar challenges, showing them that it's possible to lead a fulfilling life despite a chronic illness.
Now, I'm going to ask you a question. It's a little bit personal. Was it harder to manage the actual disease or the condition that you experienced, or was it the emotional aspect, the mental aspect of being in this experience?
I think by repeatedly telling myself, I have the strength, even in my most vulnerable moments, I will be able to break through. I just don't have to give up.
So what will the readers be able to take from your experience? How will they be able to apply this to themselves?
I hope readers will get the inspirations from my book and use it to find their own path to power. Yes, through whatever challenges they face, using these trials as stepping stones to a stronger self.
Path to power. Find their own
Yes.
path to incorporate and find and discover and use their own personal power. Elaine, welcome to the show. Tell our viewers what inspired you to write your book.
Happy Kids, Happy Parents stem from a place where I wanted to create a resource or two for parents, educators, or caregivers to find something that could relate to them easier in terms of parenting or educating a kid.
Well, let me ask this. You talk about in your book about the importance of play. Elaborate on that.
Play is so important. I argue in my book that play forms a critical component in a child's holistic development. Now, every parent, every educator wants the best for their kid, and play is often overlooked in this. But play includes problem-solving skills, it includes the cognitive development, it includes how to negotiate, resolve conflict.
Well, that's great. Now, give us a very brief explanation of how your book will help bridge the problem or the challenge of kids being so focused into their electronic devices. How do you crack the code of connecting to them?
Digitalization and globalization, kids are exposed to electronic devices at such a young age. And I'm not to say that these electronic devices are harmful to kids. When used well, they can actually be beneficial.
Edward, you've completed your book, From Screen to Serenity. Tell us what inspired you to write this book.
I decided to write this book to provide a practical strategy to people so that they can manage their work-life balance and also will help them to have more time with their friends or even their families.
Well, that's great. Work-life balance is just about everything in life, isn't it? So tell us, Edward, what is one great strategy someone could take away from your book? I know there are many, but just give us one good one.
Would be the time blocking, whereby you dedicate a certain amount of time to your work, after which you also do the same thing for your families and or even to your friends or for your hobbies, so that you can work professionally and also you have some time for yourself to enjoy your life also.
So what's the overall goal of the book? What do you hope your readers take away after they read your book in its entirety?
After my reader reads the book, so I hope that they can achieve the health wellness and also including the mental wellness part. Because recently I've seen a lot of people getting into depression or mental health issues. Because of the long working hour, they don't take care of their health. So I hope that after they reading the books, they can have better health and also mental.
Well, great. Thank you for your time today. And I look forward to reading the book. Evelyn is a pug owner, and she literally wrote the book on her love for her animal. Evelyn, what is the motivation for writing this book?
Was to talk about the interconnectedness between humans and animals. And that's why the title is called Awakening Love. Awakening Love is actually a concept. It's a Buddhist concept where we talk about the Buddhist nature, the Buddha nature in all of us. And that's actually, when we say all of us, it means that all of us have goodness in our hearts. So that's how the title came about.
Well, it's interesting you bring up Buddhism and dogs in the same sentence. And do you know, was there a position Buddha maintained about animals?
I don't know for sure, Mitch, to be honest, but I do know that many of the enlightened, they always have dogs, cats, animals around them.
What exactly did Minyu teach you? You said he was a great teacher. He might not have been human form, but what lessons did you learn?
It's very subtle, and this subtlety became even more obvious to me as I was writing the book. And after I finished the book, I thought even more about it.
Interviewing Cho Fung Chong. What was the motivation behind writing this book?
Before I write this book, I have two children, as you know. So it's raising them is a bit of a challenge when they 4, 6, and it's a bit of a challenge when they not going to school. When let's say the childcare in Singapore, and a lot of mother like me is taking a lot of time to take care of them.
What have you noticed with your own children when you put them on a strict regimen?
When they start growing up, it's a bit of not stable. When I'm just doing up breastfeeding from the start, so the process is they start adapting themselves with the breast milk, and also adjusting themselves with the new environments. So breast milk is the best food for them throughout the 6 months, from the research. So I give them a lot of I only give them the breastfeed throughout the 6-month periods.
What does your husband think about this whole focus?
My husband is encouraging to me to write this book as well, because he went through all the process with me, like taking care of the baby throughout the night and day and nights. So he know that the importance of the nutrition to the babies from the start.
Eric, I'm going to start with you. Why did you choose to participate? Because I know you're an athletic guy. Why did you choose Taekwondo as your sport?
During my primary school, because of influence of the movie, like Bruce Lee, all this, I want to explore the martial art. In my school, they are only Taekwondo. So naturally, I join and start from Taekwondo.
Why did you choose Taekwondo and not Kung Fu, Aikido, or Chinese cooking?
Actually, it's the same reason with Eric, because my school only the martial art have Taekwondo. Yeah, so last time we really like Bruce Lee movie.
Did you enjoy the idea that you could defend yourself, or was it the beauty of the kicks? What drew you to the art?
Actually, last time is enjoy when the training. Yeah, because we're not thinking about fight. Time we join the competition, wow, the feeling amazing.
Tell us, what would kids take away going to Paul Lee Taekwondo?
Defense from now. Right. More important is the student, the children's confidence, respect. Yeah, that is our culture. Actually, that's our culture, our Taekwondo culture.
Today, we have a guest, Shilin Yao, the importance of water lilies and lotus. What got you into this space?
4 years ago, I was really into retirement.
Okay.
I've actually, it's not enough. Actually, I was kind of forced into it because of COVID. I was growing lotus and water lily more than 10 years, but it was just an hobby. I spend more time on my hobby then, which is the lotus and which is the water lily. Some even said, my plant is dying, so can you help me? That's probably how my nickname, Dr. Lotus, came about.
How did you learn this topic? Through trial and error? Did you study other books or what?
Must admit, I killed a lot of plants.
You killed your way to success. Okay.
Yes. It's like, in a Chinese saying, you want to be a general, you must have at least step on 10,000 bodies, which means you must have enough battles.
Right.
More than 10,000 soldiers are killed to make a real general.
So what kind of success have any of your private clients had? I mean, did you save them the pain of watching all of their plants die, or were they already dead and you had to resurrect them, wave your wand? What did you do?
Actually, to understand how to grow lotus, we must first understand that they have a growing cycle. All right. Now, lotus thrives in the temperate country as well as the tropics. Now, in the tropical countries like Singapore, we are blessed because the lotus plant grows and can flower throughout the whole year.
Jiam, welcome. I'm glad you're here to share with our audience all about your book, A New Path. It has different stones. Tell us about this new path.
A New Path, that's the title of my book, my journey from corporate into hospice and palliative care leadership. So this book depicts what my journey has been.
Would you mind, for people that don't understand, because I had to whip out a dictionary to understand what palliative care is and hospice care. I think people are probably more familiar with hospice, but tell us a little bit about that.
Based on the World Health Organization definition, palliative care is a way to prevent and relieve health-related sufferings for anyone, adults, children, and their families facing problems associated with life-threatening illnesses. It's really based on a more comprehensive, person-centered approach. It addresses everything from physical, psychosocial, social, and spiritual sufferings, providing equity and timely access to good palliative care in a duly ethical way are something that is very critical for public health.
Today's guest is Xavier Tan. He's known as the B-Man of Singapore. What was your passion behind this? Give us a little background about you, because we're most of the people that are attending this conference might be authors, or they're aspiring authors, or they're thinking about writing a book. Give us your story. Where did you come from? You worked in corporate.
Oh, yes. That was like 20 over years ago when I'm working in corporate. And what intrigued me to actually write this book is because I've been doing bee conservation in Singapore for more than 12 years.
Understanding the bees, what it's done for you professionally and personally, tell us about that. How do you feel about the fact that you've got a book that is in your passion, not just a hobby, but you're passionate about it, what it does for the environment? How do you feel now that you've checked that box?
That's very wonderful. Even though it's just a start, I'm gaining supports from people. Like even from the beginning, when I get people to help me to write testimony or to write forwards, and there are so many people is willing to do it because of knowing what I've been doing for the past few years. And I have very positive belief that this book will able to change something, at least in Singapore, on the bee conservation side.
Very relaxing session where you can learn through ancient Chinese methods how to manifest everything in your life. Roy Fay here with us today. Roy, welcome to this. You brought in and you relax the whole crowd through Chi-Men manifestation. Tell us about that a little bit first. Give us some context before we dig into your book.
In the world of Chinese metaphysics, most people heard about feng shui, which is huge around the world. I think even in America, people heard about that. They use that. So feng shui is actually using the house to harmonize the energy so that people stays in. And you hear about 八字, you heard about all the different discipline.
Give an example of some successes of people that have gone through your program and what they'll read in your book.
Oh, there are so many of them. One would be this lady. She's a single mom, and she had her 17-year-old teenage boys. And I still remember it's 24th December. It's Christmas Eve. She actually said that her son needs immediate surgery. It's an open heart surgery. But what I did was I did a Chi-Men forecasting. Right. So in Chi-Men, one of the very popular strategy or method of Chi-Men for business owners or even top level executive is the ability to make decision.
Chris, welcome to this session, which we're going to talk about with you. She's my go-to gal, not for Hong Kong noodles, but for book formatting and making sure the quality is 5 stars. Now, Chris, what do you think about, I mean, you own a printing company, the premier printing company there in Singapore. I visited your office. Everything you do, your boutique, high quality. I'm going to let you do some talking because I'm overly enthusiastic about you.
I actually grew up in this business. It's like from very young, where my dad started his printing business way back in 1975. That was like 40
years ago, 50 years ago.
50 years ago, yes.
What are all the services you provide authors? Since this is specifically geared towards authors and existing authors and prospective authors.
I feel like what you say, the book, the authors have already spent a lot of time writing the book, which is really their biggest asset. And really to bring out the essence of their asset, I think the design of the book cover, the internal pages need to really bring out the essence of what they want to share. Okay, so maybe I can just bring out one example that I did for this. It's very important that we have some very good professional shots of the authors. You can see.
Yes.
And it is the design as a book, it needs to be very clean and bring out the heading. That's something that is very important. And even as a collage, we spend time on really taking some good photos so that to bring out the authors, and also to have very meaningful photos that can represent the title itself.
We have Ernest Tan, the smart money man, and Start Young. And welcome to this session, Ernest. Smart money, start young. Tell us what that means.
As an educator myself, and also a parent to 3 boys, I feel that financial literacy needs to start at as young an age as possible. Because if you can begin all these habits and all these thinking, these mindsets as early as possible, they are just going to grow up being really good with money. And I believe and I know that money is a great stressor.
Tell us what you do with your boys and your wife. Even sometimes men don't tell their wives how much money they have. They keep it separate. And it's a touchy topic, and you approach it quite differently.
That being said, I don't disagree that between the husbands and the wife, they should have their own separate account, because it is really important that you have your own money that you do spend. So do keep that arrangement if you guys happen to have that kind of arrangement. But I guess where Mitch comes from is he finds it a bit weird because I'm extremely open to my family when it comes to the finances of the family. My wife knows how much money there is in our joint account. There is complete transparency on how our money is being spent. There is also complete transparency to the children, because I do share with them how much money comes into the family, how much money is being allocated for purchases of daily expenses, for maybe the rent that we pay, for the transportation, how much money we spend on them for their enrichment, and they get to see it. I mean, just a really, really interesting thing is that I do a weekly payments of my credit card, and I will sit my children on my lap as I enter the amount of money that I actually spend on the credit cards.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have Joshua Muthu Kumar. And yes, it's a tongue twister, but he will not twist you, I promise. He's going to wow you with his passion for his book and his belief, his unshakable foundation in Christ. Tell us more about you. Welcome, my friend.
I'm from Singapore, and I had this passion of writing this book because I share the same passion. I was inspired by my pastor who has a passion for Christ.
What I noticed about your book, which I went through, of course, and read certain components that jumped out at me, was you are a Christian. Many people who would read it would be Christian, but the lessons apply to anyone in any religion who just wants to better their life, is what I like about it. And what chapter will be great for somebody who's suffering? Like, what was the particular chapter that gripped this individual that you're referring to that was in a depressed state? What did he do specifically?
Okay, you're referring to the friend of the best-selling author I mentioned?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, actually, he read through my book, and my multiple case studies that I mentioned the book, and he diligently did the exercises, both the exercise as takeaways and reflection, and make it my action step. So within the 10 days, he was already out of depression.
Welcome, Toon Kim, to the program today. Well, that's a biggie right there, personal and people mastery. Now, I could go at many levels. Is it mastering yourself, or is it mastering how to engage with other people? Just to create a little context.
Right. It is actually about mastering myself or yourself. And at the same time, once you're able to master yourself, how do you also master your interactions with people? And that's the reason why I talk about personal and people mastery. So in our journey to personal and people mastering, I really like this picture. If you could see it, it gives you that warmth. The first thing first is that, hey, you can't be what you cannot see. So clarity is the starting point for your success. I emphasize a lot about the power of I am. The words that follow I am follows you.
Is that the popular word is our self-talk?
Yes, very much, Mitch. A lot of us talk about self-talk, right? How do you talk to yourself? Or some people even call it the inner voice.
Yes, there you go.
Right? The inner voice. So imagine the inner voice keeps running and running the record to say that I am confused, I am incapable. Whether you like it or not, this is going to get programmed in your mind. So absolutely, Mitch, self-talk, inner voice, whatever you call that.
Showcasing Dave and his talents. Today, he's our special speaker, who's going to share tremendous insights. And you are the best teachers, and that's why you're such a great teacher, imparting your wisdom and your strength. The greatest teachers are the greatest students. So tell us about these photos and who you're with.
Actually, the best investment is in yourself. So I love to spend money to go for courses. And from there, I learned from Peng Joon, John Lee, even Robert Kiyosaki. And of course, there's much more trainers that are not shown here. So I believe by having a lot of knowledge, we give you a lot of solutions to counter the ever-changing world.
And so here are some of your principles that you laid out. We cover in advance. Tell us about the importance of disruption.
Actually, if you are doing business in current context, it is important for us to keep transforming and keep improving our business model. We cannot stick to the business model that is suitable for maybe 10 years ago, 20 years ago, because the world is changing. The inflation is increasing, everything is transforming. So we have to transform ourselves. Business also have to transform. So from there, our business have to be 100% efficiency in sustainability and also in counter challenges. The future cannot live without AI, or even robot or machine learning. This is the future. So all companies need to embrace technology, or else we'll be left behind. You can see that there's a lot of new technology coming out, like autonomous vehicles, robot replacing cooks, or even bartender or whatever.
If you have found these experts alarming, engaging, and they connected with you, they're all available to be contacted, buy their books, connect with them. They're all great individuals. I know them personally, all very well. My name is Mitch Carson, and it's been my pleasure to showcase these experts. If any of you would like to be guests on amazing authorities, getinterviewedguaranteed.com/meet with Mitch. Here's the link below. Click on it. Don't delay. You too can be showcased as the expert. if you have a book, if you're a speaker, author, coach, or consultant. We'll see you in the next show.